It was 2 years ago in May. I came out to get the clothes off the line. I pulled out the sheets that had fallen underneath the deck, and when I did, I pulled out a whole nest of bees and hornets. They were flying down my shirt, stung me all over the side of my neck and into my shoulder. Just at that same time, Joseph had come around the corner to the back.
I see my mom get stung by bees.
I couldn't breathe. I was swelling up. My mouth was swelling up. My throat was swelling up.
She told me to go in and get a cold face cloth, and instead I went in and called Rescue 911. They said, tell me your address and phone number and tell me where you live.
He said Holden, but did not know the number of our house. What they did tell him to do was listen for the sirens and tell them when he's getting closer and closer. And when he saw him come by, he waved to him and brought him right up to the back where I was.
They came and helped my mother.
I was told later that I could have died with the anaphylactic reaction that does kill people. After this whole episode was over, I asked him, why did you call 911? He said, because I knew my mommy was sick and she was hurt and she needed rescue. Well, how did you learn how to dial 911? Well, every Tuesday, that is his favorite show to watch. At 8 o'clock, he parks in front of the TV and we all watch the show. Joseph saved my life. He's just my little hero.
As parents, we have to decide at what age our children are old enough to begin learning basic life-saving skills. But we tend to underestimate their capabilities, as Stephen Walker discovered on the evening of April 20th, 1990, while spending an evening alone with his 5-year-old son, Stevie, at their home in Indianapolis.
Here you go, Steve. I'll take those, put on tape, and I'll be down in a minute, okay?
I've been leaving the two of them alone together since Stevie was born, because Steve is a very doting father, and he's very watchful. He was going to cook, and they were going to go downstairs, and they would have a good time.
There you go. One more last bite, guys. One more. There you go. There you go, Stevie.
I heard the crash, and I turned around, and I just thought that was playing a game. Dad? Dad? I go, Dad, and he doesn't answer. And then I say, are you playing a joke? And he doesn't respond there either. Dad, are you playing? I noticed that his lip was playing on the side, and I said, uh-oh, it's not a joke. I know it was all up to me, and my mind said, if you want to be good and to be pretty special, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Stevie's call was taken by Marion County Fire Dispatcher Susan Lauthan.
Fire dispatcher. The caller began to state that his father had fallen down the steps and was not moving. Okay, Stevie. I realized at that point that I was talking to a child, and I realized that he was there by himself. I said, Stevie, if you do exactly as I tell you to do, I can help you through this until the fire department gets there.
Rescue units were immediately dispatched to the scene.
I knew that he had not called his mom at work. He had not called his grandparents. He had immediately called 911, and that is very crucial. Can you tell me if he's breathing?
I took my fingers and put it right between his chin and his nose, and I felt air coming out, so I knew he was still breathing.
Okay, now I need to know if he's bleeding. Do you see any blood coming from anywhere? He said yes, there was blood coming from his head. The fact that he did have a head injury, that he was unconscious, that he wasn't moving, those are all very serious symptoms that you can put over where the blood's coming out to help control the bleeding. My biggest concern was that he remained breathing until the fire department got there, but Stevie was so respondent to me, I had total confidence that had he quit breathing, Stevie would have been able to deal with that too.
Okay, guys, what you got?
EMTs and an advanced life support unit, including paramedic Jim Glad, arrived to help treat the victim.
He had a 3 to 4 inch laceration in the back of the head as the result of his fall down a flight of stairs. We weren't sure what the extent of the head injury was at that time.
Don't give me a heartbeat. Easy, bud.
If his father had remained unconscious, he may have very well bled to death or lost a considerable amount of blood to have endangered his life. So the time factor was very important. And as we were leaving the scene, realizing he's the one that had called, I got down on my knees, patted him on the shoulder, and said, if you're the one that called 911, you did a fine job. You probably saved your father's life.
Steve was taken to Community Hospital East, where he was treated for multiple brain hemorrhages and released 8 days later. It's been 2 years since the accident, but Steve Walker will never forget the night his son Stevie came to his aid.
I was very lucky that he was as intelligent as he was, and that he handled it with the calm and cool of a pro.
You think you'll drive one of these days?
Maybe.
Maybe.
He certainly saved my life, and there's a debt there I could never repay.
130. I can go faster than that. I'm thankful that my dad's still here. We spend a lot of time together now because if he ever has another accident, I'll be there for him.
The show had a major effect. I think it took the scare away from him of facing an emergency.
I remember lots of times when Stevie and Dad would sit around and watch Rescue 911, and then to find out that he called 911 from just watching it. It was just amazing.
If 911 would have never been on the air, I probably would not be here on the face of the earth today.
Five-year-old Stevie helped save his dad's life because he knew all about calling 911. When do you call 911? When?
When something's wrong, like an emergency, like when some kind of accident happened.
Yes.
Let's say your big brother was throwing a party and it got out of hand and someone started a fight or something. You would call 911.
Have you had a big brother?
Yeah.
Does he throw parties?
Yeah.
Do they get out of hand?
Yeah.
Have you called 911?
No.
Anybody else?
When somebody's having a heart attack.
What do you tell the dispatcher when you call 911? Yes.
Your address, your name, what happened.
When don't you call 911? You right there.
When you're trying to pull a prank, like a prank on the phone or something.
False alarm kind of thing. What would happen if you made a prank call? Yes.
You'd call it, and they'd really think there's an emergency, and they'd come all the way to your house, and somewhere across the town there's somebody really in trouble, so they have to go back to the station and back all the way to the other house, and it might be too late.
Good answer. Not all communities have 911, so learn the emergency numbers in your area and post them by each phone.